All right, good evening, guys. Kenator's Capital Nightly Strategy Podcast for June 6, 2023. We'll start with the swing trade portfolios. But first, just a special. I just want to acknowledge the good work that the guys are doing in the Foundations course and the Creativity 202 course. So these are prototype systems that guys are experimenting with as a consequence of doing the work in the Creativity course and the Foundations course. So here's one where the trader is working on simplifying an intraday system so that he can set it and forget it. And it's based on a breakout in the DAX. It has very low cognitive load, high frequency trading. You can walk away, 15-minute check-in to see how things are going. He's not allowed to monkey around with it. And it doesn't have any trades greater than 2R. So here's his histogram right here. And his evaluation criteria and his design criteria. Does it matter if he feels comfortable? No. Does it matter if it feels like he doesn't have control? No. Because he's committed to letting the math do the work. Feelings are fickle, so paper trade on the demo account, make the system earn its place into the production system. And so here's what he's got with it so far over just a couple days. 90 trades. The best trade is 1.7. Worst trade minus 1.45. He's got 45 wins, 1 scratch, 46 losses. So basically a coin flip. And the winning trade on average is 1.08. And the losing trade on average is minus 0.58. So that's a coin flip that pays just under 2 to 1. So how many times a day do you want to trade that? All of them. That's what the equity curve looks like. And you can see that this is a pretty stable production system at about 0.32 expectancy. So that'll trade. Here's one where the trader is, because of work circumstances, has to combine 3-minute and 30-minute bars. So what he's got is trades that in the first hour before he goes to fly airplanes to put out fires, in the first hour he can trade on 3-minute bars for that first hour. And then at that point he's got to make a decision to either cut it or to convert it to a 30-minute trailing stop or whatever rule he's using and let the trade run. And so he's got 51 trades. The best winner is 10.7. Very strict risk control. -1 is the worst trade. He's got 32 wins and 19 losses. So that's like 30 wins and 20 losses. So that's a 3-2 win rate. And his average win is 1.8. Average loss is minus 0.7. So that's a 3-2 win rate and a 2.5 to 1 payoff rate. And that's the equity curve that he has. And fairly stable numbers. I would take this to be probably the correct expectancy is probably around 0.5. That's his production line. And then if we look at his histogram, we look and see, okay, number one, nothing worse than -1, check. Between -1 and +2, he has a normal looking histogram that is positive expectancy to pay for doing the work. That's good. And then he has the third thing, and that is fat right tails. So that all looks pretty good. Sorry, did we get disrupted in there? Yeah. How far did we get before we got disrupted? Yeah, maybe the raccoon was chewing on the. He might have been chewing on the thing. All right, let me get everything set back up. The first or second histogram? Okay, second histogram. All right. So we'll take a look at his histogram again then. Sorry. So if we draw his histogram, we look for three things. Number one, no trades worse than -1. That's correct. Then between -1 and +2, we have a positive expectancy system, which pays for the learning and the working, and so it's positive expectancy. And it has a normalish looking shape, so that it means that it's a robust system. We're looking for like about 85% of the trades to be inside there. That would be comforting. And then the third thing that we look for is fat right tails, fat right tail, meaning that we are open to the possibility of larger than normal wins. So what this approach to trading does is very strictly controls risk, applies good process management for robust systems to generate normal returns that are positive and that pay you, and then to be open to the possibility that other time frames may be at work and allow us to tag along and get pulled along by their momentum. So that's exactly what he has in this system. He's got a 3-2 coin flip. So it wins 60% of the time, and the payoff is 2.5 to 1. So when he wins 3 times out of 5, he's getting paid on average 2.5, and the 2 out of 5 that he's losing -1. So you'll take that. And it's combining, like we said, the 3-minute and the 30-minute. So that's pretty good work. I also want to respect the artistic work being done in the creativity. This was through combining the use of Chat GPT and some robot writing. We're just going to go ahead and leap ahead into the swing portfolio management, and we'll start with Alcoa. We'll start with Alcoa. This is on 30-minute charts. So the blue represents like 5-day look back. The yellow box is the daily range. So Alcoa, double bottom, caught a 2. We're holding about +1 overnight. That feels pretty good. The metals all perform well today. AI, so 2 days ago, we held our nose and took the SSC entry with standard risk, and that closed well yesterday and closed well today, and we're holding about +3, and it's halfway up the stack, and the real test is going to come around 42, and I'll add a second position if it goes north from there. Really like that trade. Caterpillar re-entered the Kata 2 in the usual way at the PSAR flip, standard risk, and it's holding about 0.5. Cliff, we re-entered the Kata 2 today. It's holding about +3 and looking pretty good. It's cleared the previous 10-day high. It made a new 30-day high today. That actually feels really good. I probably could have put a second position on that, but we'll get it tomorrow. Chevron, so we're in, could be the start of a third leg. So we got 3 positions on the first leg. Then the Kata 2 really paid off well on a 2-day trade. This almost clears the deck, and then it stabilized right here. And then I just liked that, and it crossed the dragon, so I said, you know what? Let's give that a try and see if we can't front run a move. We'll know if it gets above 71.50 if that's going to be a decisive move or not. So I decided to give it a chance. It has pulled all the way back to the 0 line here. And if it holds here, then that could be a nice move. This move here was so strong. Look how it pulled the Red River from below the 0 line and made a nice big decisive move to here. So this pullback was enough to bring the MACD out of the Red River. So that means that this was a significant retracement. What I like about it is it's a significant retracement that only briefly was threatening. Like if those 2 bars hadn't happened, you would take that as a pause that refreshes all day, because that feels normal and natural, and that felt like a nice way to get back in. Dish Network, so we were short from yesterday. It gapped up to here, so we took about a 0.7 loss, and then stopped and reversed, and we're holding about +1. So we're net 0.3. It's got to get above the dragon, and then above the 10-day high and 30-day high, but really not till it gets above 8 does this really become interesting. Devon Energy initiated the 1, 2, 3 Kata 2 entry today that closed well, +1. Holding that overnight. Electronic Arts, no trade. Emerging markets, very happy to get an orderly re-entry in a Kata 2, holding about +2. Ethereum gave us about +3 on a SSC entry right by the numbers. I was really tempted just to cash that, but this is the third test of this price level here. It rejected. So we're going to see what happens tomorrow. If that doesn't continue, then I'll cut that and take it. But if it goes above, say, 8.65, I'll add a second position, because then it feels like it will have cleared the resistance. So I'm liking that one longer term. And it has some room to go up to 9. So I like that one. Mexico was just as nice as you could want. So we had a very orderly Kata 2 PSAR flip, standard risk, and it worked in our favor right away and held. And today it just continued to go. So about 2 hours into the day, it had cleared all of the previous resistance levels. So just added a second position, and it just motored north. And so that thing has turned into 4, 5, 6, +6 on the first one, +2 on the second one. So that's holding about 8R and making a new 30-day high, or a new 10-day high, sorry. The 30-day high is up here around 63.25. So that has some real possibilities. If that gets any better, that's if it breaks through, let's call it 63.5, that's really a positive sign. So I'm paying close attention to that one. Brazil even better, and I'm a little disappointed I didn't get another position in on this one. This is where that 2-hour battle drill is your friend. So we got the SSC here. It held. We got a benefit of a nice gap, which held well. And then yesterday it did this, and today it did that. And now we're holding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's plus 10 on a single position. And if it breaks above 3150, I'll add a second position, which will be the kiss of death. And then that'll allow us to get out of that one in a hurry. Intel. The short started reversing today, so we cashed it at 1. I missed the stop and reverse, but that was a healthy day for Intel. Nice recovery. No trade in international paper. No trade in real estate, although I like the higher lows. KRE, this one had a lot of my attention today. This was 2 positions. This is regional banks. Very orderly COTA 2. PSAR flip, standard risk, took off like a scalded ape and then held very well. And that's holding plus 2. And this is also the 30-day high that it made today. So this feels like there's a lot more room to go on that one. If we step out and look at the daily, that is still in early days. And the 3-day, early days, just flipped in the last couple days. So that looks like the recovery from the banking crisis. So I'm liking that one long term. I think it's going to pay off big. McDonald's, let's go 30-minute and back to. So took the 1, 2, 3 entry after the gap down, sell off harsh. 1, 2, 3, why not? Standard risk. It's holding plus 1. If it can get above 285, then it's a fast move to close that gap. So I like where that one is heading. That felt like a washout kind of a move today. And it's holding support right where it held support the last time. And there was a lot of buying pressure before at this level. So let's see that come in. Merck was a collapsing dragon and cashed 3 at the edge of the dragon on an intraday trade. Just happy to do it. Microsoft. This was a sell-off in the morning and then stabilized. R10 reversed. There's your RLCO. There is a crossing the dragon, standard risk. That's just basic COTA 2 work right there. Marijuana. We were short 1, it reversed, and then today started decaying, so basically a scratch. Nvidia, no trade. Clean energy, COTA 2 continuation, closed very well. I'm happy with that one. Rivian, no trade. I missed the 1, 2, 3 entry on that one big time. Tesla, or I'm sorry, not Tesla, Treasuries, pardon me. This is a COTA 2, closed well, holding plus 2. I'm looking to see it get back up here to around 103. Tesla, no trade. I missed the 1, 2, 3 on that one. And U.S. Steel, missed the 1, 2, 3 on that one. So a lot of good movers today. And I'm expecting more continuations to the upside tomorrow. I like the posture. All right, so here's the sniper trade of the day. So this one is in KRE. This is that regional bank that has recovered nicely. So this is as orderly a close from last Friday as you could want. And not surprisingly, that works out to be the OR3, and the OR3 was also 25 cents. So this is your R10, 25 cents. So if you are trading $100 per trade, and your risk box is 25 cents, you could have 400 shares. And that would be your entry on the second bar. And you've got a nice tight stop. And if that R10 gets violated, what happens? We would stop and reverse on essentially a collapsing dragon. Instead of collapsing right away, it moves out in our favor. And if you go, this was about the plus 2R right here, so could have added a position there, waited, and at about the 3R, after this little consolidation and go, added a second position here. Now by this time, you want to have your stop probably to about there, so that you get about 2.5R on the first one, and then if this failed, you'd lose 0.5, and then you'd net 2R. It doesn't fail, so it keeps going. So you probably want to have moved your stop up into here, maybe even to there now at this point. Doesn't fail, so put a fourth position on to ensure failure. And then it gives you the PSAR exit. So let's just take a look at that then. So off the initial risk of 1, that first position gets 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. This one gets 1, 2, 3, 4. This one gets 1, 2. And this one gets 0.5. So that gives you 14.5. So if you had risked $100, you're now holding $14.50 minus commissions, call it $1,400. That's the importance of finding the critical state, because it doesn't take much information to tell you that the upside trade ain't working, that it's going this way. And we know that KRE is prone to large moves in either direction. So the fact that we're able to get a tight compression risk box, look how tightly this thing is compressed. When that spring springs, bang. And now look at where when it starts to roll over, it's kind of like already the easier run is done. It's starting to slow down, and then this is where our exit hits, even before it gets out of the Red River. That's how you read the MACD. Check or hold? Here's just some nice work from Luke. Just wanted to share it with you. He was doing some work in the creativity course on systems, money, and timing. and looking at how to triangulate those things because he's trying to get the synergy. Great trade as timing, size, good reward to risk criteria. So he's properly position sizing it. He has a system that gives him great trade setups, and then he's using that system at the right time, and he's making the decisions in that system at the right time. And when you get all of those things together, you have the recipe for success. And he's working on making it as simple as possible. So nice work. And Jeff's work on, you probably want a screenshot of that. That's what I'll send it to you. I'm going to have, I see Jeff's in here. I'm going to send these over to Bill Scheidt, who's our African drummer, and have him put this to music. And we'll see if we can't get a pleasing artificial intelligence voice to sing it for us. Although I will tell you, you would be well served by recording this for yourself in your own voice and then listen to that positive affirmations with your inner voice in your ear and get used to hearing yourself talking to yourself like that. And here's the other one about trading the open. So you guys can come back and get screenshots on that later. All right, let's go to the traders. Let's see what we got. All right, Damien's continuing to chug along here. He's using the 1 day, 1 minute chart on SPY, trading in the first 90 minutes of the day. And he notices the gap down and the sell-off, the bottom of the RL10. There's your harsh winter, well outside of the Red River. Here's where it turns to spring. That's how I know he's listening. There's your crossing of the baby dragon, the entry of the dragon, the exit to the dragon, and this is where it turns to spring. So he buys it. Risk box. Gets paid 0.5, re-enters, loses 0.5. Kata 2 re-entry, gets paid 1.5. And 1.5 for the day, just as nice as you please. Hamad on Alcoa. Gets the OR3 breakout and gets paid at the edge of the dragon nicely. I think this was a reverse and then quick cut and then probably a short and then cut and then a long and cut. That's a lot of trading. I don't know that I would take the short right away because if this was quiet and the first impulse was strong up, maybe that immediate short's not necessary. But the important one is this, to get re-entered and then re-entered. Now that we are well into the day, you could think about that one, or I think better would be this one, because you got a chance to see the R10 roll over. And this is where the Kata 2 can help you on the downside. Right? So you have a peak, a bottom, a lower high, and then this is where you get the collapsing dragon. And then if your stop is the PSAR, you get paid. Nevertheless, 1.4 is nothing to sneeze at. We'll take it. This is Devon Energy. Also positive for the day, so we're liking that. This would be on this big red candle down, well outside the Z3. This is a 1, 2, 3 entry for those of you in the advanced course, and that won't lose money. I like this as a short. I like this as an exit, and you can make that a stop and reverse at the PSAR. So I think this entry should be here, and then your risk box is this. That's a great second entry because you let it clear the previous resistance, and then that's a perfect exit up in here. Again, that's aggressive, but that's worth a shot. When that doesn't work, when this one does not continue, now notice that you got a high, a lower high, and this is now a collapsing dragon. And this had 15 bars to continue that next leg up, and it didn't. So that's actually a legitimate short. And then you'd exit here. You could try that one long as a Kata 2 because now you have a low and a higher low. And that wouldn't pay off much. Here's a Z3 pinch, but it's late in the day, and an entry here probably would have scratched. Still, that's pretty good work all the way through. I like the short. I like the stop and reverse, or not later than here, and that gets paid well. Here's one where the short did pay off for you. I think there's an entry in here because of that long haul, and the fact that the short didn't last very long and the buyers came right back in. I think I might give that a try. I do like this one because that's like your harsh winter and your reversal. Now it didn't work, so I like that you didn't stay with it too long. There may have been a Kata 2 in here as you get this reversion to the spring with a wrist box here. That wouldn't hurt you. Brian? So this is DIA on 3 minutes. Harsh winter, PSAR flip. Maybe 1 bar slow, still pretty good. The stop and reverse at the PSAR flip, orderly move in the Dow. That's a 0.345 expectancy right there. You can make a living on that. Brazil crushing it. The re-entry would have been beauty. Morgan Stanley. Here's how I look at those. The train leaving the station trade. You had this tight wrist box from yesterday's close and almost something like this. When I see, it leaves here, it pulls back, I see that establishment of a Kata 2 when it's above yesterday's yellow zone. See, I look above this little wrist box. I just sort of see that as the boundary. And when I can see it makes that move right there. On my best day, I can get it inside here in the pocket. If I just draw this straight across. We call that the pocket for the Kata 2. But if you wait for the entry here, you're still in good shape. That's going to be the emerging dragon because it is above. It's above this significant level. So either one of those is good. This one almost has the same qualities where you do get in. This one, it didn't even cause a ripple, maybe a wiggle in the R10. But the same little pattern here is the same one that you're seeing here. But this one didn't even stay short for very long. It reversed right away. So that's still a great entry. And the exit's excellent. And I think the effort to get short, I think you were getting short here and then exited here. And that's a clear stop and reverse right there. When you have that kind of long haul. Yeah. And just set it and forget it. Put it on and trail it with the wrist box. This purple line, was that like the previous day's high? If you're in here, I think you're in. That's probably yesterday's high, and then it wiggled, and then it continues. That makes that great, and a very small wrist box. Yeah, what was yesterday's high? Great exit, better re-entry, and you just keep marching that to the, marching on to heaven. So really nice work, fellas. All right, let's go to, this is the 150. And we have cleared this whole pile right here. This is all free and clear. And we made a new 150-day high today. Everything's looking good. We're ready to get above 430 and hold. That looks pretty good. It's just starting to come out of the Red River on a resumption of the summer. That's very good. Yeah, everything's looking good here. Dashboard 1. Very strong. Bull normal. Very favorable for risk on. Strong on the ADX. Yeah, I mean, what do you want? Semiconductors, Texas Instruments, Tesla. That feels very good. I should have been on that today. Disney and DuPont. This is very strong when you look at the width of this market. So you get agriculture, emerging markets strong, all of the globals. So that's Japan, Mexico, and Brazil. Mexico, my friends. Mexico and Brazil. Holy mackerel. That's the stealth trade. And the entire Latin America complex here. Excuse me. Even the mid caps and the small caps are starting to get it done, and they've been significantly lagging the S&P. So when you see those coming on, that tells you the entire U.S. market is cruising along well. Auto framers, standard work, pinches, just a handful. I like the fact that the Qs and the S&P and Microsoft are all near the top of that list. That means they have not even started to run away yet, and there's more room for them to grow. Just a handful of Godzillas here. DG is a raging Godzilla. Gilead Life Sciences starting to wake up. That's a very interesting stealth move. And then EWM is Malaysia in a stealthy Godzilla. Today it was the metals were ruling. There's U.S. Steel, Cliff, and Alcoa. Intel Nice recovery. I'm looking for more out of Intel. And that defeated Texas Instruments and NVIDIA. Tesla's doing really well. It's at 221. It used to be at 160. That's a 30% stealthy rebound in the last while. Equally split between spring, summer, and winter. The summer are the ones that are really leading the way north. Intel, Cat, Apple, Home Depot's doing well. Inside here, Brazil. I love Mexico, the fact that it's early in the spring and it's still crushing. Whoa, there's a lot of room for that to go. Small caps and tech, S&P tech, that's where your strength is. I'm looking for where the green is. AXP, Tesla. Tesla I like because the way I read that is when there's that many things that are good in the green on 2 days and 10 days, come over another column and see who of the guys that have been stronger longer and stronger longest. Tesla, Microsoft. And this little sell-off means that there's a buy on dip opportunity. And this is just starting to come around now. Look at Goldman and JP Morgan coming in with a stealth move on the finances. So we're liking that. And finance has some ground to make up, but it's starting to get some strength. So this is early days in finance yet. The tradables that combines large range percentage and reliable volatility. Marijuana, Tesla, clean energy, Devon, Intel. Yeah, that's reliable traders, reliable movers. I want to show you something on the little deeper dive. This is really good, by the way. This failure to fail. And you see how the black line is a polynomial regression line. That shows you the acceleration. The blue line is the straight line regression line. The black line, the polynomial, shows the acceleration of that. And it's early days. That's very good. The fact that this is like a COTA 2 just starting to work, there's some room in here before it gets the natural testing. But that is what a breakout and improving psychology looks like. And the fact that it's starting to pull away from the longer term 200-day moving average now, that's a very favorable sign. This is still early days in outperformance. Not till it gets above Z1 does that become problematic. Here's the one I really want you to see. This is a deeper dive into math. Right, so the one I want to concentrate on first is the centerpiece, the RL30, which is the health of the trend. Now, look, this was a Z3 downward slope here in the RL30, and that's where it bottomed out. And then it stabilized here and here. And now this little turnaround, instead of failing here, which would have been, if that had failed and come back to 390, then the slope of that 30 would have come down and reversed here. But it didn't. It reversed here and is now, it's still inside the normal, but it's shaping up. Now the RL90, this is where also it was supposed to fail. If it was going to fail, it was going to fail there at this resistance level. But it didn't. So the 90 just got flat and is just starting to hook up. The 30 is up, and the 10 has made a nice move. Now, notice how its lower limit is also improving. So all three of those timelines, which represents different demographics, are all starting to shape up. Now, what this really means to me is be careful, but be prepared, because this is the place up in here, about another $5 or $6 in the S&P, where it would normally roll over. But it's also like a coiled spring, and this little compression with everything pointing to the upside is pointing towards a potential for a surprise move up. And the volatility is favorable. It had all this time back here to fail, and it didn't. It kept riding the upper limit of the river, and then everything started compressing, and now it's breaking out to the upside, and you look back, there's no resistance. It has cleared. So 470 is the upside of this, which is kind of all-time high territory. So that's another 5 to 8% above us is baked into the cake on the potential. Okay. Let's see. My brothers just posted a couple on lemonade, that cool, refreshing drink. And this is just an update on his 3 and 9. You will see this is the 3-day. So this is lemonade, 3-day chart. This was the breakout pullback and almost like a Kata 2 entry. And this is a 2R battle drill second position. And then on the 9-day, it just broke the PSAR flip today, and is looking good after a really long slide. So that's really favorable. LMND, and if you will recall, we looked at that one. Let's see. So if we just go to the 30-minute, you see that's very tradable. It is cleared. When I look at it on my favorite 30, this whole period of time here was a test to see if more buyers could come in to push it higher than they could before. They couldn't over here, and that led to this collapse, which found support where it has always found support. And then you got that long, slow glide. Leg 1, leg 2, leg 3, and now it's the second test. Is it going to work? Well, it voted yes today. So that's how I read the 30. Now if I can see that made a new 30-day high, because that's the black box, right? That feels pretty good. So if I go out to 2 hours, now I can come back and say, yeah, this test is now testing this. So if it breaks north of 20, the next resistance is up here at 24. That's a plus 20% move waiting to happen after it is finding some traction and going. So this is a really important moment in the life cycle of that trade. Now if I go to the daily, this will feel normal. Come on. Slow internet. This is the raccoon's revenge. But anyway, I leave it to you to look for the LMND on your charts. Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, so if we look at the 9-day on Lemonade, this is just now starting to break out, right? After that long period of neglect. Yeah. Boy, that's a 90% sell-off, by the way, from the highs. And so you wouldn't be wrong in saying maybe 1260 is my downside, and using a $5 risk and just leave it alone for 2 years. But that looks pretty good. That's what
It
that's
would have
what
been
neglect
criminal
looks
of
like.
me not to
Yep.
tell you guys.
Yep. So
You know,
we're just going to keep tracking that one. That feels pretty good all the way. All right, that's everything we got for today. We'll get this published and posted, and catch you guys tomorrow.